If you wish to join the net or need to make a call at any time, please announce your call sign between transmissions, and net control will acknowledge you. If an emergency should arise and you need the repeater, please contact the net control by saying break break. A double break signifies emergency traffic. The net will stand by for you until the emergency is terminated or the traffic is moved to another frequency drop. Stations who wish to check in are asked to respond with their full call sign using the recognized ITU phonetic alphabet and their name. I will recognize each station before continuing. Drop. Any station who wishes to check into the net, please come now.
Alpha India 6 Delta Golf.
Lima 7 Hotel Quebec Radio Neo in envelope.
All right, so am I going to add Carol to the list as well, KP4MD?
Yes, thank you very much. This is KP4 Mike Delta Carol. Go ahead.
All right, well, bear with me. I got KI6DG and I got KL7HQR, Neil and Antelope. Let me get kind of synchronized here. Let's see. So, yeah, I think I just indicated the people who were on the list. And so what I'd like to do is maybe see if you can go ahead and transmit. We'll have KI6DG take off with his first round. How about that? N6EMF here.
Correction, it's Alpha India 6 Delta Golf.
AI6DG. I am really sorry about that. I should have known. Go right ahead. Thank you.
PD 120. Here's an image of my sound card and cabling setup that I'm using to transmit on.
right, N6EMF, Wilson here. That looked pretty good there, Joel, KI6DG. What I can see without going into the details, I'm probably not going to be as good as Carol, but this is my first net control in a long time, so hang in there with me. Hang in there with me, let me bang through it. I see a bench top with a device with some possibly audio interfaces with the right and left phono plug channels or wiring plugged in, USB cable maybe strung across the bench top, and a DIN cable and some other kind of circuit board device. So since I'm not going to be transmitting a picture tonight, or at least I don't have one to send, I'm going to turn it over to Neil and let Neil provide maybe his interpretation, and then after that I'll go to Carol. How's that? N6EMF.
Okay, scale 7HQR. I have a little problem here. Somehow I can click on the eyeglass and I cannot enlarge the picture, so I'm looking at that this small resolution. Yes, a very, very good copy, no problem at all. A green PC board on the right-hand side with some connections. I see the connections on the red and white as you indicated, a USB connection, or maybe a HDMI, I don't know, probably a USB that's not connected. And that's an interesting thing. So that's what you're using today to broadcast. It looks like a very nice enclosure. I don't know if you purchased or if you made that. If you made that, very, very good job. Back to Carol.
Yeah, okay. I guess I'll go ahead and I'll pick it up. What I'm seeing here is that green board. It looks like it's got two little audio transformers in there, which I assume are audio transformers to provide some ground loop isolation. And there's some components on the board. Looks like a couple of capacitors, those red things. I can't tell what else is on that board. But then it has this wire coming off it going to what looks like a USB to serial converter little module there that's been modified and connected to. And if this is what you're using, this is quite interesting. The that silver box to the left, it looks like it has a USB connector on one end, and then it puts audio out through those RCA jacks. I'm not exactly sure what kind of box that is, but it maybe is some adapter that you use with your radio. So back to net control. This is KP4MD.
All right, nice job describing what you saw there. I'm still having my, I haven't really followed up on some of the issues I've had with MMS TV, but I can still see the slant. So I'm going to try to correct the slant here, and so then I'll turn it over to Joel, AI6DG, for a description of his picture tonight. Thank you.
So that's what I used to transmit on. Obviously, it was plugged into the computer and the radio at the time, so I took this earlier this evening. The gray box with the oval black thing on the top to the left is a Behringer 202 something or another model, a USB sound card. So the black USB that's in lower center is it goes to the Behringer USB sound card, and that has 4 RCAs on the side of it for stereo, two for the microphone, 2 for the speaker, although I'm only using 1 of each. So I'm basically only have mono going in and out of it. The black DIN cable that's in the back is what plugs into the radio, and it's a 10 conductor. It's got audio in, audio out, push to talk, something to do with squelch, and serial communications, transmit, receive, and some control signals. All I'm using on that are the 4 signals, 4 pins, ground, audio in, audio out, and push to talk. So that black cable coils around and goes over to the the green circuit board. Little white blob is some electrical tape around the wires I'm not using. The audio in and out are attached along with the ground to that green circuit board. And it's like Carol indicated, the audio transformers are used for isolation. There's some of the components, the two orange caps are used as part of that audio isolation circuitry, and the little white square is an opto isolator that can be used for push-to-talk interface that I'm not using. For the push-to-talk, I've got, you can't really see it, but there's a relay loosely mounted directly above the green circuit board that I have one pin out of the DIN 10 cable going to, and the RS-232, which is the gray cable going to the USB that's in the center, that plugs into the computer. I use one of the serial connectors, serial control pins in software, and that signals RTS. It's called RTS, and if you go into N6NA SSTV, that is actually even listed in there. The computer can drive that pin high. It has enough power to drive the relay that you can't see. I'll have another picture I can send later where you can see. It's a close-up of the circuit board where you can see the relay, and these wires a little bit better. Drives the relay. The relay shorts to ground a pin going to the radio. That's the push-to-talk that transmits. Let it drop. An easier way of doing this that's a little more out of the box, although maybe not, but more so. I want to point out a product called DigiLink Nano, D-I-G-I-L-I-N-K, DigiLink Nano. If you do a Google for that, you'll find lots of links, but the home page for that is hb9zhk.ch. It's a Swiss ham that's making it. It's a little itty-bitty nano sound card. You can get it with a short USB cable rather than a long one. That's why you'll notice above my gray box there's a coiled USB cable. It came with a long cable. And you can get, on the DigiLink Nano, you can get different cables for what you're hooking it to. So like you can get it with the DIN connector, you can get it with a couple of stereo jack 3.5 millimeter plugs, you can get it with just bare wires, and maybe some others. It's kind of a neat product, a bit expensive. Anyway, back to net AI6DG. Any questions?
Very good, Joel. I do have a question, and I'll turn over questions to the others. So currently, you've got this connected to your Yaesu FTM. Is that a 300 or a 400 you got?
I have a 300, but I would imagine the 400 would have the same plug, the DIN 10. And there could be other non-Yaesu radios with it too. I'm not sure who's using the DIN 10. I had heard of it before I got this radio.
Yeah, well, that's great news. I'll tell you that that new FT300 there, I just picked up one today, and I know that little DIN connector in the back requires another connector to bring it out to a full size so you can do other things with it, and that's a $30 part. But anyway, very nice work. I wanted to just say express appreciation to you for bringing this picture to the net, and it sounds like you're doing fulfilling work there. So how about I turn it over to Neil, KL7HQR, for any comments or questions.
No, KL7HQR, no, extremely good descriptions, very thorough, and very impressed at your work there, putting the circuit together. And that, plus looking at your tabletop, reminds me a lot of when I used to wield a pretty good soldering iron, put all kinds of I/O boards together and things like that for my S100 bus, for my old Altair and MSI computers. And that was before they invented electricity, by the way. And I had my tabletop for my operation was exactly what you have. Apparently, it appears to be like a kitchen top. So this takes me back a while. Anyway, no questions whatsoever. I don't know if Carol has any. Back to Matt.
Oh, okay, thank you, Neil. How about Carol, KP4MD? Go ahead, Carol. Any questions or comments for Joel? Thank you.
No, no, I don't have any questions, but thank you for that reference to the DigiLink Nano. I'm looking at that online right now, and it looks really interesting. This brand new device that's out there. So I'll be reading more about it. Thank you for sharing that. It's KP4 Mike Delta.
All right, well, I guess what I'll do is go through the list and see if I can get the next operator to transmit their photo if they have one ready. I think that will be Neil. Neil, KL7HQR, high quality radio. Neil, go ahead. N6EMF.
Roger, thanks, KL7HQR. What I'm going to try to send here, it's a picture and a puzzle. And I have been working on trying to learn how to edit the templates. So I try to overlay that in there. And I don't know how to adjust the size of the pictures properly yet. So this one is going to go sideways. So you guys are going to have to look at it horizontally to see. But there are two patches, and there is a big mistake in there that caused one of them to be retracted and redone very quickly. It was very embarrassing. Let's see if you guys can catch what the error is. So there we go. Stand by, I have to change my audio output here. I apologize.
Okay, standing by, Neil, N6EMF.
I tell you what, why don't you send another picture and I'll find out. It looks like I have the proper codec, USB codec for the signal link, but the sound is coming out of my speaker. So go ahead and send another picture and I'll come back to me.
Very good, Neil. So Neil is going to be working on developing a fix for his thing, and I'll turn it over to Carol, KP4MD. Carol, if you have a picture, go ahead and send one now. Thank you.
Okay, we'll do that now. This is KP4MD sending Martin 1. Okay.
KMF and the rest of the gang here, I can see a pretty good photograph of Carol, KP4MD. She is seated at a wood grain desktop with a laptop computer to her left. I can see a wristwatch. She is writing on a tablet, has a white Elecraft brand t-shirt, short sleeve, really nice smile on her face with a boom style microphone on her head, and let's see. From what I can see here, it looks like she's facing to the southeast, if I've got the right perspective here. But I do have some pixels that are red, green, and blue, sort of like noise throughout the picture, particularly on the left vertical edge. But I think overall it's a pretty good picture. I can see a bright smile, and it looks good. So let me turn that one over to Neil, KL7, High Quality Radio, see if he has any comments or observations on the photo that Carol sent.
Yeah, good description there. Yeah, everything's okay. I can see a QST magazine down there. I don't know if it's the new one. I just got the new one today, but I know Carol gets her a little bit earlier. And shame on you, Carol. I cannot read the time on your wristwatch, so very good, extremely good quality. But I do have those green artifacts, which we've seen in other pictures before. But great quality.
All right, thanks for that, Neil. Let's see. Let me turn it over to AI6DG. Joel, did you have something for us? Thank you.
This looks like a photo out of an Elecraft ad. Just a great smile, great product placement. Since she's got the headphone and the boom mic, I'm assuming she's doing sideband. She's all ready to write down a log, but she's got the laptop next to her that could be doing logging also. I can't really see what's on it, but could easily be logging software. Little mouse sitting on the table next to the laptop, a KX3 with a key, CW key on the front of it. I can't tell if it's the Elecraft one, and I don't remember the model. KX something 3 something or another, but I don't know if it's that one or not. And yeah, I guess that could be a QST. I can't really see enough of the cover to see if the magazine's a QST or not, but that certainly makes sense. But somehow this does not look like she's in the middle of operation. This looks a little too set up, but it's still a great photo. Back to net, AI6DG.
AI6DG, N6EMF. Well, that was nice. Thank you for that input. So I'll turn it over to Carol, KP4MD, to see what she would have to say about the photo. Maybe she has some questions for the photo. I'm just kidding there. Go ahead, Carol.
Okay, this is Kilo Papa 4 Mike Delta. This actually is a picture that I sent to QST, and they did use it when in the announcement for the IARU Worldwide HF Championships contest in July. This picture is taken at my portable location down in San Juan, Puerto Rico. It's in my little studio apartment that overlooks the beach. And yeah, this picture is about a year old. And no, I really wasn't operating. If you look really close at that little notebook computer, what's showing on there is an instance of it's a Whisper program. I actually had it set up for Whisper operating with the KX3. And that is a QST magazine on the table there. So this was a stock photo I had that I sent over to QST, and it actually's been printed in about 2 issues of their QST magazine. So you probably might have recognized it from that. So that's all I have to say about this picture. So back to net control. This is KP4 Mike Delta.
All right, KP4 Mike Delta. Carol, that was a very nice update on the photo, and I had not seen that yet, and so that was the plug that Neil made, huh? Yeah, I haven't been. Well, I won't go off on a tangent, but I haven't seen I didn't see the QST back from that time frame. I had let my membership for the ARRL lapse, and then renewed it around this summertime, and did not see this particular issue. But I'll bet if I go online, I can see it. But yes, again, you look great, and you look very happy. And wow, what a neat place to be, Puerto Rico, in your studio with your computer and operating Whisper. That's really cool. Your KX3. So let me turn it over to Neil and see if Neil had any follow-up comments or questions. Go ahead, Neil.
No, I just I made my comments about the picture before, so nothing else. And I would like to see if I can give it a test here. Would like to see if I can send at least a tone here and see if I am connected correctly. Here we go. Okay, apparently it's still is not triggering the signal link. Obviously, I have a wire disconnected in here. Maybe a short between the headsets. So back to that.
Well, very good, Neil. I appreciate your persistence. Keep trying. And then, so I'll just kind of resume the cycle here and ask Joel, AI6DG, did you have anything, Joel, that you wanted to ask about the photo that Carol sent, or any comments? N6EMF here.
The noise pops are from PayPause. Is that Beal? Yeah, out of Beal. And it's pretty normal on the. You see that on all of our transmissions on the repeater on UHF. Some days it's better, sometimes it's worse.
Yeah, that's helpful to know and to understand. So thank you for that, Joel. A nuance that I wanted to share is that I have trouble with QSOs between Rancho Cordova and Carmichael, and I'm trying to sort that out. That's for another conversation. I'll open that up on the N6NA 2-meter repeater some other time. But anyway, that's an interesting factoid. So Neil, I want to see if we can turn it back over to you for another question, or I'm sorry, for another photograph. And if not, we can do one of two things. We can see if we want to take another round. Here it is, 9:20 p.m. I want to wrap up the net by 10 o'clock so I can get my family ready for bed. But I want to see if Neil's ready, and if not, we can turn it over to Joel for another round, AI6DG. How about Neil? KL7HQR, N6EMF here.
Yeah, just trying one more time here, and then if not, you move on with the cycle. Hang on a minute. Still not triggering the signal link, so go ahead, go around me one more time.
Very good, Neil. I think, yeah, that'll be fun. So if you want to, Joel, you can kick off another photo. AI6DG, go ahead if you like. N6CMF here. You did good. I can see Joel AI6DG in the upper left-hand corner. I see a photograph of a circuit board. It's a green printed circuit board. I can see a transformer on the front side of the board, as well as a resistor network, maybe some capacitors off to the right, and then to the far right back end, a white device. It could be an integrated circuit. I'm not sure if that's what it is. And then some wires protruding vertically off the board, and maybe to the right, and then yellow, green, red, and other colors, as well as maybe can't tell based on the quality of the photo. Quite a bit of noise from my perspective, and maybe a cable going off to the left. And so let me turn that over to Neil for his perspective on the photo. Go ahead, Neil. KL7HQR.
Well, again, I'm going to have to bow out here. I had to disconnect some of the wires here, so I lost some of the picture here. So I apologize, guys. My participation on tonight's net is not the best. So I do have the lower half of the picture, which is the circuit board with the transformer and the yellow wires going out. So I got just the bottom, but not enough to really pass judgment on the picture. What I got was good. So back to Net.
Well, some participation is better than none. So you're in the game with us, and I appreciate you, Neil. Keep trying, and that's why we could keep trying. We have some conversations offline and have iron sharpen iron. How's that? So then maybe I'll go over to Carol and check in with KP4MD, see what she might be able to say about the photograph she got.
Yeah, okay, this is Kilo Papa 4 Mike Delta. This picture came through pretty well. This looks like a close-up of that one of those boards that Joel sent earlier. I see the two audio transformers on the left, a number of, I could see like 3 resistors. They're blue-bodied resistors, and then the 2 capacitors. And there seems to be a white rectangular object. I'm not sure if that's an integrated circuit or some other kind of opto-isolator or something. And to the right of that, it looks like there's a diode. And in front, in the foreground, in front of that white rectangular component, I could read very clearly push to talk ground. And hanging up in the air above it all, there's this black rectangular object that looked like it might even be a relay of some sort. I see some wires coming out of the back of that. And of course, a multi-conductor cable going off towards the right. Interesting, and can't really tell much else about it. So back to net control. This is KP4MD.
Very nice description, Carol. Thank you. So let me hand it over to Joel. Maybe Joel can tell us more about his photo. Thank you, Joel. Okay, AI6DG, go ahead.
This is a close-up of the green circuit board on the previous photo. Didn't turn out as well as I had hoped. There's just too much going on here, and the cell phone just doesn't focus as closely as I would have liked. But on the green circuit board, everything from the orange component to the right is not even being used. That's the push-to-talk circuitry that I'm not using. The push-to-talk circuitry that I am using is that big black block in the upper center. That is a little itty-bitty dip relay. The gray cable with the red wire coming out of it is going to the serial adapter, the USB serial adapter. And when that COM port that it represents, it is exhibited as a COM port on the computer when you plug in that USB serial adapter. And a serial adapter has a control signal called RTS that when on that COM RTS is activated, between the red wire and the other wire coming out of that gray cable, it's enough to activate that relay. And the lower right corner of that, you might be able to pick out a wire going down to the green circuit board. The other end of that is the red wire coming down to it. That goes, and that's the push-to-talk signal. So that's how push-to-talk on the radio is activated. The extreme upper right, you can see the end of the cable going to the radio, and coming out of that, there's a brown wire and a yellow wire. Those are the two audio signals going down to the circuit board, which are going to the circuitry for the audio transformers and the isolation for those. In the background, you can't really see it. There's the other colors, gray, blue, green, white. We have those all wrapped up in some white electrical tape. Those aren't used. And on the extreme left of the green circuit board, you might be able to pick out it's a clear wire, a red wire, and a copper. You can see the shielding. Those are the going to the RCA plugs on the USB sound card. One of those is one channel of speaker, and one of them is one channel of microphone. Again, even though the sound card is stereo, I'm only using one side of each of them. And hope this is useful and interesting to you. Back to net, AI6DG.
All right, Joel. Well, thanks for that explanation. I have a question for you. Well, how much time have you spent on that? I'd like to know what level of passion is involved. It's quite obvious it's something meaningful, but how many hours do you think you spent on that?
Well, actually, I had quite a bit of time to figure out some combination of what all worked. And I originally was going straight from the radio into the sound card. I didn't add the isolation until, it was an attempt to solve some ground loop issues, or at least what I thought was ground loop issues, because I was getting kind of a noise signal moire pattern on all the pictures I received. The main thing that took time to figure out was how to push to talk, because I was trying some various circuitries and ways of hooking up the relay, and finally found something that worked. But one thing I want to point out is, even if it took me a couple of weeks of off and on time to get this working, once I got this working, it's been 2 years and it's been rock solid since then. So it was a one-time thing. But I kind of enjoy playing around with things. So while frustrating, wasn't a complete waste. But that's one reason I point out the DigiLink Nano, because that's a little more ready-made. And if you want completely even more ready-made, the Signal Link is a choice, because there you buy the Signal Link, you buy the kit or whatever the parts are for your particular radio, and it should be plug and go, or at least much more so. It's just whatever you're into. I mean, some people like to fiddle, and some people want to just plug and go. Nothing wrong with either. We're all having fun. Back to net, AI6DG.
Well, Joel, I'm a lot like you. I like to fiddle, and I like to plug and go. I guess it just depends on where I'm at and what I'm working on, what my interests are at any given time. But I've been tinkering with homebrew, audio interfaces, and Signal Link. And even once I got my Signal Link, I found out that you still have to tinker with it. Sometimes I end up homebrewing my own jumpering schemes inside the circuit board. So without going too much into that, I want to say thanks for expressing your passion on your interface projects, and keep going with them. I'd love to hear more about them in the future, and I'll have more to share with you as well. I'm sorry I don't have a picture to send tonight. I got a new radio, the FTM 300D, and just not ready to transmit tonight. I'm receiving on a handheld that is not set up for transmit right now, and I'm talking on my new radio. So I want to express appreciation to everybody that hung in there with me tonight as a relatively newly, net control experience here with the club at the N6NA on the 70 centimeter repeater. And before I make an attempt towards closing the net, I want to see if there's any other photographs we want to send out. So how about that? Let me check with Neil. Do you have anything yet? KL7HQR?
Yeah, let me give it a try here. Looks like I may have some success here. By the way, you have no apologies to make, myself, my friend. You're doing a very, very good job as net control. So thank you for that. So let me give it a try.
Go right ahead, Neil. N6EMF here. Well, Neil, congratulations, KL7HQR in California, which is what I can read quite clearly on the upper right-hand corner of the photograph. You did well, so congratulations. You've got a photograph here. I maybe can't articulate exactly what I see, but I see what appears to be a box with a couple of patches inside, maybe a patch that reads the Johnson Space Center Amateur Radio Club with a logo inside that I can't fully discern, but it looks like it's mapped out on orthogonal coordinates or something like that, and it's a gray bar with a 73 at the bottom. On the right half of the photograph inside this box, looks like this patch is mounted on some kind of fabric material, black fabric. You've got SARX or Cerex with a NASA and a globe and some other things, things that I don't readily recognize, but I wanted to let you know that it came in pretty good. I think to the upper left quadrant of the photograph, there's sort of a snowy effect of red, green, and blue, mostly yellow. Could be noise or it could be something else, can't tell. But there's my description. Nice work. Keep up the good work, Neil. I'm going to turn it over to, let's see, maybe I'll go to Carol, KP4MD, for a description or an update.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. This is Kilo Papa 4 Mike Delta. This picture came through very well, and the template with your call sign KL7HQR in California came correctly oriented. It looks like this is a photograph you took off of a computer monitor. That's what it looks like, because I'm seeing a little bit of a glare reflection in the monitor. Johnson Space Center Amateur Radio Club It looks like there's a globe in the center of that patch with a big Yagi antenna on top of it, and the W5RRR, and let's see, and the Sarex patch. Um, it's looks like there's an AMSAT logo on there, and then a couple of pictures. I wonder if that's the ISS or those stars there in the background in this field of blue. And then you have the like a horizon over the globe there with some land masses and an ocean. So back to net control. This is KP4MD.
All right, KP4MD. Thank you, Carol. So I'll run over to, how about Joel, AI6DG? What's your impression or observation on the photo that Neil sent, KL7HQR? Neil, go ahead, Joel.
I'm kind of disappointed. The new radio and the EZ-Digi interface card still not isolating whatever my moire pattern noise source is, because I got a slight, maybe it's better, I got a slight moire pattern on the background. But this dark background really brings out this moire pattern I'm talking about. But I am comparing the noise pops between what I received and what's on the website, and it's kind of interesting. There seems to be some correlation. Although I notice on the YouTube image, there's definitely no moire pattern, and there seems to be fewer or not as bad noise pops. So I wonder if I'm just farther away from the repeater, or maybe I just need to get a better antenna. Whatever. The Sarex patch, is that an ARRL logo in the center? And then if it's AMSAT, is that the little globe symbol on the right? So you got NASA, ARRL, and AMSAT. I'm kind of curious what Sarex is. I don't know if this is a monitor or just a display box. But it definitely is glass with being able to see the reflection on the room, and I think the image is sideways, which actually makes sense because he mentioned that earlier. But Johnson Space Center, is that the one in Houston? Anyway, cool. When's the next ISS pass where they're doing a slow scan? Back to net, AI6DG.
AI6DG, N6EMF. Well, thank you for that, Neil. Joel, rather. Let me turn it over to Neil for his update. Go ahead, KL7HQR.
Well, I'm kind of happy that anybody could see anything after my fracas here with the connections. You said that the signal link was a lot easier. Well, that's what I have here, and it wasn't working so well. Anyway, this is the puzzle / mistake that I mentioned to you guys in the beginning. It is a picture of a framed display that I have here on my wall. On the top, you have the Johnson Space Center, JSC. Houston, we have a problem. That is the Mission Control Center, and they have the W5RRR is their station, and that is their patch. On the bottom, Sarex. Sarex stands for Shuttle Amateur Radio Experiment. That was the program that was running during the shuttle program that established contacts with the different schools around the world. The schools would apply and be assigned a specific flight, and us and the Sarex teams would be in a mission control on the supporting room and orient them to start the contact, and then they would go on their own. It would take about 2 years before applying, before they had a flight and they had a local amateur radio operator to build the station and etc. And of course they had all kinds of media, being the shuttle. Nowadays with the internet it's no big deal, but at that time it was a big deal. So that was the shuttle amateur radio experiment, and the puzzle / mistake. If you look between the two patches on the W5RRR, it is correct. The shuttle is taking off and going eastwards. If you look at the Sarex patch, it's going backwards. It's going westbound. And that it would be a retrograde orbit, which is absolutely impossible to do nowadays with the technology as we know. to another one that I have another one of the patches here, but that was the mistake in there, and I think everybody got a pretty good idea on what's in there. So back to that.
Well, Neil, that's a fascinating background on that. I sure would like to hear more about what your role has been in those environments. I know we're going to be wrapping up the net, but if you could say something about what your role was there, maybe I missed a piece of it, but I would say that this will have significant value at some point. So if there's ever an option, wow. Tell us a little bit about your role in this SAREX.
I just one member on a team, a very, very large team at Johnson Space Center. All the amateur, or the astronauts going up in order to operate the equipment, they had to be licensed, and we provided the school. To teach them. At that time, you had to learn code and learn everything, and we taught most of the astronauts the club did. The RRR and also Clark, the Clear Lake Amateur Radio Club, provided the schooling for them, and it was fun. It was fun to see them in operation on the air, and we'll talk about that some other time, maybe on next Saturday when we get together for our SSTV Net lessons.
Yeah, I have yet to set one up or schedule one, but yeah, let me think about to what extent we can get into that in the next few days. But so thanks for that, Neil. What I'd like to do is just do a round robin and just kind of open it up and see if anybody out there has a question for Neil or any other comments before I get ready to close the net. Thank you, Neil. KP4MD, Carol, did you have anything you wanted to add at this point?
This is KP4 Mike Delta. Well, thank you very much for these pictures and got some good learning here today. Good sharing of interesting pictures and good topics. And also I wanted to thank you, Wilson, for doing the net control because it helps a lot. Since I'm managing the YouTube feed, it's one less thing for me to do, and it's a lot less confusing, a lot less chance of making an error. And you're doing a wonderful job as net control. Thank you. Back to you. This is Kilo Papa for Mike Delta.
All right, Carol. Well, thanks for the comments. Thanks for the positive feedback. I enjoy doing it, so I look forward to doing it again sometime. And yeah, I recognize it's a lot of work what you're doing out there, so I appreciate it. Keep going. It's a lot of different tasks you're trying to handle, and it's even difficult for us out here being just participants in the net and trying to keep things going. So I can't imagine what you're up against. Okay, well, thank you for those encouraging remarks, Carol. Let me turn it over to AI6DG. Joel, did you have any parting comments or questions?
Yeah, we've got some comments about the difficulties of the interfacing, the difficulties of SSTV, and I want to point out that there's even the difficulty of figuring out how the heck to get Windows to select the right audio device, or why isn't the audio coming out this device, and so there's so many layers in this, and I want to acknowledge it. Sometimes you're just fighting Windows itself in the ways it handles audio devices. So we're all having fun. Back to net, AI6DG.
Very good. I appreciate that. Yeah, once when I was getting ready for this net, my computer booted up and it needed to download updates. And fortunately, I did it in the middle of the afternoon, but it took 4 hours to download and process all these crazy updates. So anyway, I want to thank the folks on this net tonight that have participated. So thanks to all who participated in tonight's SSTV Net. And a special thanks going out to Carol for running the YouTube video and keeping the gang together, or keeping this group together, and coaching us through all these nuances of SSTV. Also, congratulations to Neil for making significant progress on his work. So we hope to see you again next Wednesday at 9 p.m. This net is officially closed at 9:57. Pacific Time. This is Wilson in Rancho Cordova, November 6th, Echo Mike Foxtrot, N6 EMF, wishing all of you a good evening.
Kel7HQR, quick question to Carol. Do we have anything from the YouTube comments and participants that we shouldn't hear about?
Yes, actually, there's a comment here on the YouTube chat. Jojo's in there and wanted to send an image earlier, but he says he's going to cancel his attempt. He had too much noise in his station. But I want to thank you very much, Jojo. That's KN6 HTD for tuning in to us on YouTube, and hopefully maybe next time we'll get a picture from Jojo as well. Back to net control.
Thanks for the question. I've gone ahead and officially closed the net. Everybody have a good evening. I'm going to be signing off. N6 EMF clear. Have a good night. 73.
Great job, my friend. Go take care of the family now.
Good night, everyone. AI6DG.